Good day. In this video, we will take a look at an example of the medical scheme fees tax credit, in short, Section 6A credits. So we only have one example which has a few questions loaded onto it. So it's the same example across. So you have A, that is the taxpayer who is the main member of Healthy Life Medical Aid Scheme for the entire year of assessment. His wife, their 2 kids, and mother are listed as dependents. So if we look at the number of dependents on the medical aid, it's the taxpayer himself, the wife, the 2 kids, so we are at 4 dependents, and then the mother is listed as the 5th dependent. Then the question is, how much can A claim as a Section 6A rebate? So for the 2022 year of assessment, the first dependent can claim a monthly tax credit of 332 rands, as well as the second dependent, that would be 332 rands. So if you look at the legislation, the actual legislation itself, it will tell you that it is an amount of 664 for the first dependent as well as the taxpayer. So for the 2 people, it would be, the first 2 people, it would be 664. And that 664, if you look at it, it is the sum of the 332 as well as the 332 for the second dependent. Right. And then any additional dependent would get the taxpayer would get a credit of 224 for each month that they contribute towards a medical aid for each additional dependent. So that would be 224 for the first child, the second child, as well as the mother. And then if we look at the total of the credits per month, we will get to a sum of 1,336 per month for all 5 dependents. Remember, the question was, how much can A claim as a Section 6A rebate? So if you want to put that out in months or years of assessment, you would have to look at it in the following manner. So it's 1,336 per month contributed. If the taxpayer contributed towards the medical aid for the entire year of assessment, then that would be the 1,336 per month multiplied by 12 months, and in total, that would give the sum of 16,032. Right, so that 16,032 is the 1,336, that is the monthly credit for the 5 dependents times 12. The second part of our question, still the same example, is, can A's wife, meaning the taxpayer's wife, can they claim any Section 6A rebates? The answer to that question is no, and that is mainly because the Section 6A rebates are available to a taxpayer that makes the contributions towards the medical aid scheme, right? So if the wife does not make the contributions, they will not be able to claim any Section 6A rebates. So they will only be available to the taxpayer that makes the actual contributions, right? And then with that, before I go on, remember, if an employer makes a contribution towards the employee on their behalf, then it will be regarded as a fringe benefit. So it will be deemed as if the employee is the one who made those contributions. So in that case, still, the taxpayer can claim the Section 6A rebate because it is deemed as if the taxpayer is the one who made those contributions. Right. And then the third question is, if A's mother dies on the 31st of December 2021, how would that affect A's Section 6A rebate for the 2022 year of assessment? Remember, the 1,332 monthly credit that we calculated, that was for 5 dependents, and we multiplied that by 2 in our very first example, by 12 in our very first example. But now, one of those dependents is not a dependent for the whole year of assessment, meaning our calculation has to change, right? So if we look at our calculation, the same credits will still be applicable. So it will be 332 for the first and second dependent, 224 for any additional dependent. So we will get to that as 224 for the 2 kids, and then 300 or 664 for the wife and the taxpayer. That will give us a sum of 1,112 per month, excluding the mother, right? Why? Because the mother now is not a dependent for the entire year of assessment, so their calculation will be different. Right. And then in terms of that first dependent being the mother, as they were only a dependent until the 31st of December 2021, and if we count that, that will be 10 months, being March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Right. Remember, the year of assessment of a natural persons begins on the 1st of March and it ends on the last day of February each year. So if we look at then what the credits would be for the entire year of assessment, it will be made up of the 1,112 per month plus the 224 only for 10 months, which is the 2,240, and that will give you the Section 6A credit for this taxpayer for the entire year of assessment amounting to 15,584. And then if we look at the last question, what would happen if his mother was not a dependent on the medical aid, so their current medical aid, but the taxpayer was still responsible for paying her medical aid at another scheme? For example, if the mother was or had their own medical aid, but they don't make contributions towards that medical aid, and the taxpayer is the one who makes the contributions, what would happen in that regard? Can the taxpayer claim a Section 6A rebate on the mother's behalf? And the answer is yes, because the taxpayer is the one who's making the contribution. It doesn't matter to how many medical schemes the taxpayer is making the contribution to. As long as they make a contribution, then they will be entitled to the Section 6A rebate. So in this example, then the taxpayer's mother will not be entitled to a Section 6A rebate because they will not be making contributions towards the medical aid scheme. Right. So as long as the taxpayer is making a contribution towards a medical aid scheme, doesn't matter how many, they will be entitled to that rebate. And if they are not, if the taxpayer is not making a contribution towards a medical aid scheme, then they will not be entitled to the Section 6A rebates, as they will not be making the contributions themselves. Okay, and that's it in terms of Section 6A credits. Please look out for a video on the additional medical tax credits, that is in terms of Section 6 capital letter B. Thank you.